Sweet silence fills the room as your hand meets the small device on your nightstand. You roll over and resume your restful state. The exercise program you plan to start can wait. I'll begin tomorrow, you think. Today I want to rest. Every believer has a built-in alarm clock, known as the Holy Spirit. Each morning he beckons, "Spend time with me, talk to me." When God speaks, you have a choice to make. You'll either jump or crawl out of bed, or you'll tune out his voice and continue your spiritual slumber. What makes you put one foot in front of the other instead of staying where you are? It's discipline. Discipline is mental toughness. It's choosing to act on what you should do rather than what you feel like doing. It's saying no to your flesh and yes to the Spirit. Discipline takes the desires of your heart and puts them into motion, enabling you to reach your goals. You can have the most comprehensive exercise program in the world, but if you lack the discipline to implement it, your efforts will be sabotaged from the start. Without self-discipline, your goals will always remain just that: goals. However, when you train your heart, soul, mind, and body to adhere to a set of rules which are beneficial to your life, you'll experience the joy of seeing your dreams become reality. Training in discipline. Training yourself to be more disciplined is like training your muscles. In order to get stronger physically, you have to challenge your muscles to work harder. If you consistently lift weights that are too light, you won't get stronger. A similar type of progressive overload is required to improve your level of discipline. You develop more self-control by practicing self-control. To build discipline, you have to learn not to cater to your emotions, which is something that's clearly outside of your comfort zone. However, if you don't challenge yourself, you can't grow. If you don't grow, you stay the same. If you stay the same, you won't reach your goals. When our daughters were toddlers, we gave them 2 rules about playing in the front yard. First, they couldn't be out there by themselves. Second, they weren't allowed to go past the sidewalk. We live on a very busy street, and cars frequently speed by our house in excess of 45 miles per hour. At first, my husband and I had to watch the girls like hawks. They took turns at testing us to see if we would enforce the sidewalk rule. Whenever they got too close to the concrete, Justin or I used a firm voice to remind them of the boundary. Had the girls refused to submit to our authority, they would have been confined to the backyard. However, since they chose to exercise self-control, they were given freedom to play in the front. Eventually, Isabel and Jocelyn chose to follow the second rule on their own and didn't go near the sidewalk. Now that the girls are older, Isabel is 10 years old and Jocelyn is 8. They can be in the front yard without much supervision. When it comes to training and discipline, you need to take 3 action steps. I'll use the example with our daughters to demonstrate how this process works. 1. Identify your goals. Our goal with Isabel and Jocelyn was simple and straightforward. We wanted them to play safely in the front yard. Think about the physical and spiritual goals you have. What would you like to achieve by the end of this 6-week program? If you want to prosper, spiritually, physically, financially, or relationally, determine the specific action steps needed to get you where you want to be. Be sure to state long-term and short-term goals. Your short-term goals pave the way for your success. As you meet your short-term goals one by one, you gain confidence and motivation to keep working toward your larger goal. You'll have the opportunity to write down your goals in Chapter 10, Plan for Success. 2. Define your boundaries. When our daughters were young, they were incapable of understanding the danger of playing in the road. We had to teach them self-control by establishing and enforcing physical boundaries. Self-control, or the ability to keep one's emotions, desires, and/or actions in check, is a virtue that's highly valued in children and adults.